It's time now for the all-new Animal Health Forum, brought to you by Paws Dog Training and Canine Behavior Center and Lake Chautauqua Animal Hospital.
Well, good morning, everybody. This is Ed Abel, and we're welcoming you to Animal Health Forum. We've got a very good show today. I've got one of my old friends in here, Adam Payne from Castoff Pets, and we have a new guest this morning. And I don't want to mess up your last name, Allie, so why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Allie Crumpacker, Executive Director of the Project Chimps.
Very good. We're so happy to have you here this morning. And folks, like most of our shows, they're so interesting that we keep you hanging at the end of your seat, so we're going to keep you on the end of your seat while we give a shout out to a couple of our sponsors. Lake Chautauqua Animal Hospital, located over in Young Harris. State-of-the-art diagnostic equipment, really good veterinarians and vet tech team over there. So please go over and see your veterinarian, especially if you're visiting here from maybe Florida and you're behind in your shot records, or you want to get a heartworm check done on your dogs after the summer. Please give our friends over at Lake Chautauqua Animal Hospital a call. Just yesterday, I had someone come up to me. They saw one of the dogs that we actually got from Adam, a beautiful German Shepherd. And somebody said, that can't be the same dog that you rescued a few months ago. And I said, it is. And they said, what are you feeding it? And I said, From Dog Food. We want to know where we got it from. So From Dog Food, and we get it from our sponsor, General Supply, located on the Gainesville Highway, just outside of Blairsville on the right-hand side. They have all your home and garden needs as well as pet supplies. And that is our go-to place for From Dog Food, and that's F-R-O-M-M, From Dog Food. If you go over and talk to Richard or Jordan, they'll be glad to point it out and help you pick out the right food for your dog, as well as all of their other supplies. And guys, it's a great place for gifts this time of the year. We got Halloween coming up, and then Thanksgiving, and right around the corner is Christmas, and they've got a great little boutique over there. So please go over and visit our friends at General Supply, located on the Gainesville Highway, right outside of Blairsville on the right-hand side. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one of the world's greatest animal training centers, Paws Dog Training and Canine Behavior Center. If you have any questions at all pertaining to behavior training, please give us a call at 706-716-9990. So let's get the show rolling this morning. Allie, we're going to talk a little bit about your group, which is called Project Chimps, and you're located over in Morganton.
That is correct.
How long have you guys been there?
We are going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary next year.
Awesome. That's great. And I understand that you have a couple of events coming up. Why don't you tell us about those? We
do. So the Project Chimps has 95 chimpanzees in residence right now.
Great.
And we are celebrating one special chimp, Leo. He's been with us now for over 2,000 days in sanctuary, and on Tuesday, October 3rd is Giving Day for Apes. So in honor of Leo's celebration of his time in sanctuary, we are asking fellow chimp enthusiasts and community members to help support us in our fundraiser. It's actually a worldwide competition, so we can earn extra bonus cash prizes for the nonprofit in addition to folks helping us raise those funds.
Wow, outstanding. That's great. Now, all you have are chimps, correct? You don't take in any other types of primates, just chimps?
Just chimps.
Okay, that's great. And how many did you say you have again?
95.
Wow, that's a lot of work. I used to work for an organization called Tigers, the Institute of Great and Rare and Endangered Species, and we had snow monkeys, as they're commonly known. It's a Japanese monkey macaque. And I'm going to tell you, that was just a ton of work. I think we had 22 of them. And boy, I'm going to tell you, that was a long process every day of cleaning, feeding, taking them out, doing things with them. So I can just imagine the work. How many people do you actually employ and volunteers do you have at Project Chimps?
Yeah, so it is a lot of work. So I'm glad you asked that question. We have about 40 paid staff members, and then 150 to 180 volunteers, but we're always looking for more.
Well, I bet. That sounds like a lot of people, but folks, trust me, when you're dealing with primates and the care and the upkeep, and that's provided they're all healthy and they're all doing good. I'm sure you have your times where you have some that are ill or they maybe come to the sanctuary. It's one of the things I want to touch on. What is the difference between a sanctuary and a rescue?
Well, that's a great question. So usually we get asked what's the difference between a sanctuary and a zoo. But usually with a rescue, they're not necessarily keeping the animals there, right? Like they might have got them out of a bad situation, set them up temporarily, make sure that they're stabilized, and then find permanent placement. A sanctuary really is long-term. We plan on having these chimps until their very last day, whatever that is for them. Some may unfortunately not live as long as others because of things and trauma done to them in their past lives. But a sanctuary is where they're going to come to sunset, is what we call it.
Give us an idea where you get some of these chimps from.
Actually, all of our chimps come from one location.
Okay.
So there's a research facility in Louisiana that when the laws changed in 2015 to make it illegal to use chimps in medical research, they retired all the chimps, but there was no place for them to go. So Project Chimps was built specifically to work with that lab.
I didn't know that.
So we've been bringing them over in smaller groups, anywhere from 5 to 10 chimps at a time. And there's still chimps living at the lab. They're not being researched on anymore. They are retired there, but they're still living in that research environment. So as we're able to build more houses on our property, we can continue to bring them in.
Right. And just for those of you who are not aware, some of these research facilities, and I don't know what the one in Louisiana, but some of them are very sterile. They're not exactly what you would call habitat friendly towards the primates, especially towards chimps, because chimps are so evolved and so intelligent. So, this is a great organization. I highly recommend that you support them. I also saw that you have something going on October 28th.
Yeah, October 28th and 29th, so that whole weekend. And it's our Chimp Retreat. It's our annual event where we invite the kids of our community to come and put on a costume parade for the chimps. And to reward the kids for doing this lovely entertainment for our friendly primates, we give out trinkets and candy. We actually provide both vegan and organic candy, as well as if they want to participate in the Teal Pumpkin Project, meaning that they want their kids to experience trick-or-treating with no candy or sugar whatsoever. We have non-edible trinkets at every single treat station so that they can still participate but not have that sugar high at the end.
Okay, you guys got me confused. No sugar at Halloween. That's sacrilegious. But we'll go, and that's another subject. Now, here's one. I know that Adam probably appreciates this one. I see something on November 3rd, something at the brewery.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not going to give the kids sugar, okay, but the adults can get loaded. All right, folks?
Yep, there we go.
November 3rd. What do you got going?
So that's one of our Cheers for Chimps event. It's at Fannin Brewing. I believe this is our 6th time doing it at that venue. We participate with Tom every fall. And it's $25. You get a souvenir glass of free beer in that, and then a bowl of our world famous chimp chili, which is made for chimps, not from chimps.
Let's clarify that. I do not. I get enough hate mail from my canine behavior quotes. They get on me about that. So I don't want anybody calling in here going, they kill chimps and eat them.
Yeah. So our chimp chili is made entirely of ingredients that we would feed the chimps.
Okay. Nice. I don't know if that's any better, but that's okay. All right. So there you have it. Guys, I can tell you, years ago I worked for the American Humane Association, and one of the things that I did, I was a field representative, so I worked in the movie industry, but in my downtime I would go and I would look at different facilities, and all I have heard about Project Chimps is how well run it is, how clean it is, and how your volunteers, you have a really good organized program for your volunteers. And a lot of times people will join as volunteers to groups and their hearts are in the right place, but they don't understand the commitment. They don't understand the time, and they also don't understand the psychological connection and involvement. Some of these animals really are suffering because of what they were used for in a lab, and you guys are giving them a whole new lease on life. And that can be really psychologically traumatizing to volunteers who don't understand what they're getting into. So, folks, please understand what these folks are doing is really necessary and is so helpful. And, primates are just so intelligent. I was telling Adam not too long ago, we had oh, God, my mind just went blank on me. We had one of our primates that was used in the movie Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. And it was a baboon. And people didn't realize they are so strong and so big. And it was funny because they would walk the baboon through the area where we had we had 2 moon bears. And the bears, when we would bring the tigers through, they'd stand right there and they'd watch the tigers come through. When we would bring the one baboon through, all the bears would go to the very, very back of their enclosure. That thing is crazy. I mean, they've got canines on them, this is no lie, that are every bit of 5 and 6 inches. And they're everything is defense. Everything is a threat to them. Where chimps, from just my limited knowledge of people that I've worked with in the industry, they really reason things out. They're very, very intelligent. They have great deal of emotion, and sometimes as they're older, they start reacting on that emotion. So I want to ask you this question, but do you guys actually handle the chimps, or are they put in enclosures and kept away from people as far as handling them?
So we work in protected contact. So basically what you're saying, there's always a safety barrier between any human and any chimp. We really want to encourage the chimps to get their physical needs from each other, so their time to really learn about empathy and emotional connection with their own species. but we still need them to work with us and respect, what we're asking them to do and cooperate with that. So they work in positive reinforcement training, PRT, which I'm sure both of you are very familiar with, of course. So we have our behavior coordinator and our veterinary assistant team up, and they go around and work with all the care staff so that a chimp that maybe has a tooth that we're worried about will learn how to open their mouth real wide so we can take a photo or a video of their mouth and send that to our dentist for evaluation, so we don't have to be hands-on unless it's absolutely necessary.
Excellent.
And then, of course, that's going to be under anesthesia, so it's safe for everyone.
Sure. Folks, we're going to be right back. And Allie, can you stay around for the second half of the show? Because we've got a lot more questions to ask you, and this is very interesting. And Adam, I'm sorry, we're not excluding you, but we'll get to some of the stuff you got going on at Castoff Pet Rescue as well. Folks, join us after this quick break. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. And boy, is that theme music this morning ideal. Wow thing, because we are talking with Allie from Project Chimps, located over in Morganton. And boy, I'll tell you, they just have a great group over there. And I just applaud you. My hat's off to you. I think what you guys do is wonderful.
Appreciate that.
Because there's nothing worse than seeing animals that come from labs or roadside zoos or any of that stuff and live in horrible conditions. And when we talk about horrible conditions, a lot of times people go, well, in labs, they're very clean. And it's true. Most labs do take, as far as the medical aspect and the cleanliness, but they don't understand these are living, breathing, thinking, compassionate animals that have high emotional drive, and you're keeping them in an environment that's pretty much like a prison where you're not doing that. And you just said something that made so much sense during the break that we were talking about. When people come and there's a safety barrier, you have to look at it as the reverse. It's the people that are in the cage, and the chimps are allowed to be running more free. So I think that's great because it's a safe way to do it. And working with big cats is, when we handle the cats sometimes, not all of them, aren't all handleable. And there's always a risk and danger and injury. And that ultimately results in death of the animal. And so the safety barrier is required. It's necessary to do. And some of these chimps, I'm going to imagine, been through some really hellacious things in their lives. So they're probably building trust and building that relationship must take some time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. For better or worse, a lot of our chimps didn't know that they were being researched on, right? It was done under anesthesia, and they were having blood draws or biopsies of different muscles. But to go back to Leo, who's our feature for Giving Day for Apes on October 3rd, he was used along with his friend Hercules in mobility studies. So at the age of 2 years old, they were taken to a different facility in New York. They were leased out, and their bodies were shaved, and they had electrodes embedded into their muscles. And they were forced to walk on like a force plate treadmill type of device. And they were forced to walk upright. Now, chimps occasionally will go bipedal, which is how humans walk,
right.
But typically they're on all fours. They're called knuckle walkers. So these two chimps, Leo and Hercules, were forced to walk upright with these electrodes on videotape over and over and over and over. And you can actually see this videotape on our website as part of this campaign, but you can find it on YouTube as well and read about the studies. So for 4 years, they were forced to do this. And we don't really know why. We don't know what really the purpose of the study was. We know how humans walk. We know how chimps walk.
Right.
So why are we making a chimp walk like a human just to study how muscles work?
Isn't it insane? And you think a lot of times too, I know in dealing in animal behavior, a lot of it is ignorance. People do things because they just don't know. It isn't because they're naturally mean or want to hurt an animal. They don't know. But in these labs, they're doing these type of tests. And then you ask yourself, okay, what did we gain out of this?
Right.
We literally tortured an animal, and what did we gain out of it? This isn't one. I'm sure it wasn't one of those studies where they did this for like 2 or 3 minutes to test heart rate and blood.
Years.
They're doing it over day after day over years, and that's just so crazy. Now we're going to talk about abusive animals. Okay, Adam, Castoff Pet Rescue. You guys have seen some really horrific things come into your facility, and we've tried to help you a little bit here and there as we could. Would you give us just a highlight of Castoff Pet Rescue and what you guys are doing and how you're working with Project Chimps?
Yes, definitely. Castoff Pet Rescue is a nonprofit. Our thrift store drives all of our shelter operations. We have an animal shelter in Blairsville. We've been in operation for about 17 years now. But we're having our grand opening celebration on October 28th at our new facility. So we're expecting everybody to come check us out. We're going to be there from 10 to 4 and then go over to Project Chimps, because last year I was at the Chimp Retreat event and it was an honor to be there. I was discussing with Allie earlier just how fascinating it was to be there at the viewing windows and just watching the chimps. You got one in a hammock over here. I mean, there was so much stimulation. There was just so much, you could tell the enrichment. Everybody was so committed to just day to day making sure they had the best quality of life they could possibly have. And the whole operation is just absolutely extraordinary. And so Project Chimps has helped us a lot. We have a lot of same volunteers that work with both of us. And then they invite us out to events. We had an event where we had an adoption event there recently. So we got to take dogs out on their trails because they have amazing trails out there. I mean, there's just varying complexities and links, but you can go out there and it's open to the public. So they got a lot of really good things going on there. So we're very proud to have a partnership with them.
And your new facility's not that far from where Project Chimps are.
Maybe 15 minutes or so, not far at all, right down 515. So
that's great. I would love to come out someday to your facility. I really would, and maybe be able to help you guys a little bit here on the radio station or through the radio station. Maybe we can do some links and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because folks, these organizations, they do some really wonderful things, but it costs a lot of money. Castoff's is getting ready now. They've got their new facility, they got their new kennels, and they're working on the project, and they're finishing up, I understand, the drainage system over there. And people don't understand. They come out to a facility and they see this finished project, and they watch you or your volunteers working with the animals, and that's all great stuff. It costs a lot of money to run these operations, and these are so vital. And one of the things I brag about constantly of the North Georgia area. This is such a great place for our type of business, our dog business, because it's such a dog supportive community. I have stores down in Blairsville. If we don't go in and visit them when we're doing our training, especially with our service dogs, they actually get upset. Like, why didn't you bring your dog in the other day? Maybe we were doing another exercise or something. But it's such a great animal community and very supportive. So I'm asking everybody that's, in our radio listening area, especially if you're not from this area and you're visiting up here, give or go by to Project Chimps. Is there a phone number they can reach you, Allie, or they can reach your organization?
There is, of course, but I don't know it off the top of my head. So the best thing to do is to email us at info@projectchimps.org.
Give it out one more time.
info@projectchimps, with an S because we have more than one chimp.org.
Okay, and do you have a website?
Same, projectchimps.org.
That'll get them onto the website.
Yep.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Folks, the other issue that we talk about too, and I know this firsthand just from the number of dogs we may have at any one time that we're conducting training, it's expensive. It's expensive to feed dogs, and Castoff's really does depend on donations coming in because they've got to feed not only dogs, but you also have cats. You have dogs and cats at your facility. And then when you're talking about doing the chimps, that's specialized diet as well. So it's not like, you can just go out and get junk food and feed it to these creatures. They really do need proper nutrition, proper diets. And I know from working at Tigers, when we would every animal, we had to watch dietary needs and caloric intake and all of that stuff. So, this is not something where they just get the least expensive food or cheap food and you just give it to the animals. It doesn't work that way. They really are on special diets, and I'm sure some of the chimps that come from the lab, they may have different nutritional needs than other ones that have been with you for a while because they're more stabilized. But please, you can call. Or you can get a hold of Allie. I'm sure she could tell you what they may need. Donate it as well. It's not always just about cash money, but maybe a local grocery store, Ingles, Aldi's, you guys. Maybe you can help here by getting a hold of them to see what types of produce and things that they may be able to use. As well as I know Ingles does have a box for Castoffs. So, before you donate there, maybe you give Castoffs a call or go online and find out what is it they can use or they need. I know we're getting into the cold weather, right? And you need blankets, you need towels, that kind of stuff. So please get a hold of these people and, ask them, what do you need? Because that, a lot of times people have good hearts and they want to bring things, but they're maybe not things that you can use, and you limit it on space, so that you've got to make sure that the things that you're getting are things that you can use. Now, Castoff's has the benefit of the thrift store.
Yes.
which is my main supply for dog blankets and towels, because that's where I go when I need them. But they have a lot of really cool stuff at the store, and you're helping out the rescue. So please take advantage of that and help these different groups out. I can't thank you guys enough for coming in this morning, and thank you, Ellie, for sharing information. Do you have anything else you'd like to get out over the air about Project Chimps?
Yeah, in addition to the food that you were recommending, we also take browse. So if people have river cane growing on their property that they're naturally cutting back and just want to get rid of, we actually can use that for food for the chimps.
Great. So there you go. Something that might be a kind of a hindrance on your property you want to get rid of. I know I put some bamboo in the front of my house, and I went over to the water department and said, hey, can I take some of that? Please take as much as you want, because it's a weed and it just grows rapidly. Perfect. So that's excellent. I'm glad you brought that up. Well, folks, again, this is Ed Abel Animal Health Forum, and if you have any dog-related questions on behavior, training of all types, give us a call at 706-716-9990. That's PAWS Dog Training and Canine Behavior Center. Of course, PAWS Working Dog Support Network is our 501c3, where we work with service dogs for members of the community. And we just want to thank everybody. And, of course, a shout-out to, we don't often say this, but thank you, Packy from WJRB, because if it wasn't for Packy running the board, we wouldn't be doing this show. So we really appreciate you and, staying awake during the show. It really helps us quite a bit. All right, folks. Well, hopefully we'll talk to you next week. This is Ed Abel, Animal Health Forum, and thank you for joining us.